Hello and welcome. You're watching Current Issues. I'm Vineet Malhotra. The Modi government completed 2 years and the jury is still out on whether or not the reforms and promises campaigned have reached a noticeable point, with unemployment rate at its maximum in the last 6 years and black money parked in Swiss banks being one of the biggest failures. The current regime needs to up the ante if they wish to retain power in 2019. And to discuss more on this, we have with us in the studio Mr. T.R. Ramachandran, who is a senior journalist. Sir, thank you for talking to us and coming to the studio. And we also are joined by Mr. S.V. Ramani, Congress spokesperson. Sir, if you can hear me, thanks a lot for talking to us. Mr. Ramachandran, we'll kickstart with you. First of all, let's call a spade a spade. Has the Modi government delivered what it promised so vehemently in the year 2014 to any whatsoever extent?
Well, they made multitude of promises, but not even one of them has been delivered.
Name a few.
I mean, the most obvious is that, they will ensure that employment opportunities are generated. That has not happened.
Right.
They also assured that they will bring all the black money back into the country wherever it is stashed away.
And they asked for 3 months to do that, and it's been 2 years now.
Well, these are not easy issues to work on. They're very tough.
But they're easy issues to talk about and promise.
It's very easy to promise these things because it gets into the mind of people instantly.
Right.
It doesn't just end there.
So it's a good PR gimmick.
Well, I wouldn't call it that. I would say that they misjudged. They made the kind of promises that they have not been able to fulfill. And usually the honeymoon period for any prime minister lasts about 2.5 to 3 years. So they really need to pull up their socks. Otherwise, the mood can go against them. And let's not forget, you have the most crucial assembly elections in UP next year.
Right.
2 years later, you're facing the general elections.
But the way they have performed in the recent assembly polls, is there any indication to what kind of a success they actually perceive rather than the success that is actually true for all of us and for the Modi government?
Listen, with the kind of anti-incumbency that is there against the Congress party, I think it was by and large expected that the BJP will do well, in the sense that the southern states were completely out. And the only state where they had a perceptible chance of winning was Assam.
Right.
They've done very well because they've taken advantage of two renegades from the Congress party who were expelled. They brought them in and they played their cards very well. On the other hand, I think we would have to say everybody knew that it was an anti-incumbency game as far as the Congress was concerned.
Right.
But their chief minister, who's been there for 15 years at a stretch, issued a book just 3 days before the counting on the 19th of May to say that he's winning hands down.
Right. Mr. Ramachandran, let me also rope in Mr. R.P. Singh, who's the National Secretary for the BJP. Mr. R.P. Singh, thank you so much once again for talking to us and welcome to the show. This is Vineet Malhotra. 2 years of the Modi government. I have with me Mr. T.R. Ramachandran, who's a senior journalist, and we also have Mr. S.V. Ramani, a Congress spokesperson. Well, the buzz that has been created so far in the last 5 minutes that we have spent talking is that the BJP has not lived up to the promises it made to the electorate in 2014. I'm sure you're not going to concur to that, but still, let's hear what you have to say.
I just heard the last bit of Mr. Ramachandran.
Right.
A very seasoned and a very person as a writer and as a journalist also.
Right.
Ask Mr. Ramachandran, last 2 years, has there been more transparent government than this government? There's not a single issue of corruption. That's the biggest thing which was ailing this country from so many years. And there's not a single issue of corruption. There's not a single finger pointing.
Right.
And then let us go by segment. The biggest sector in the country, or the biggest people who should be beneficial in this country, is the agriculture sector. Today, the way the Prime Minister has taken care of that sector has not happened in so many years. Let me give you an example. 18,000 villages were not lit. There was no light, there was no electricity in 18,000 villages when we came in. Today, out of that, almost 8,000 villages have been electrified. And by another probably year, all villages will be electrified. And can you imagine when a light goes to a village and to a household, what a difference it makes? If you stay without a light, without electricity for a day, you'll understand it. Then big focus has been shifted to irrigation. Big focus has been shifted to soil test. I'll tell you segment by segment. Let's talk about the roads which are being built. When it used to be average of 3 to 4 kilometers a day. When it has touched 11 and a half or 12, and then by another few months it will be touching 16 plus per kilometer per day.
Right.
You want to talk about any segment you want to talk about? Let's talk about segment by segment, and we'll
How
tell
about
you,
the economy,
for example,
Mr. RP
gas
Singh? How about
went
the
to 5
economy?
crore
How about the
women in
value
in country?
How about the economy? How about the value of the rupee?
So
And
the GDP.
And what about employment, Mr. RP Singh? I'll come back to you. Let me
how-
also
how-
let
how
me
is
let
the
me
GDP doing?
let
How
me
is
let me also get an opening
I mean, how's
comment
the
from
GDP
Mr.
doing? How's
Let
the
me
GDP
also get an
doing?
opening comment from Mr. S.V. Ramani. Mr. S.V. Ramani, you've been hearing what Mr. RP Singh had to say. He's been saying that the BJP has been a very transparent government. The cases of corruption against them have been at their their minimum. They have delivered on a lot of promises. Do you find any lapses with the BJP government and the promises that they have made and what they have delivered so far? They've completed 2 years.
See, the first thing is we must understand that this government
Right.
came to power on the promise of Achhe Din. And it has also been proved, and internationally they have added another word to the dictionary, that these are all jumlebaji. Now, this jumlebaji word has caught up in the national and international newspapers. Now, they came to power riding on the tidal wave of hopes and promises, and they sold dreams. Now, tell me one promise, one dream which they have been able to fulfill in the last 2 years. First of all, in the last 2 years, we have to understand, and it's a fact, that there is a government in the center, but there has been absolutely no governance. This country is a democratic country. In this country, we are supposed to have a cabinet form of government, a democratic form of government, and all we have is an autocratic government. There's a one man, one office government is running in this country. The hopes of these people have completely evaporated because of the hacks of this government. I have no hesitation in saying that all the policies and programs of this government, they are anti-people and anti-development. In every field, you take it education, you take it health, you take it the social sector, the child and women welfare sector, the welfare of the SCs, the minorities, the youth. This government is a disaster, and they have not promised anything what they have said. They have not delivered on anything what they have promised.
Mr. Ramani, since you sit in the opposition, I guess some would consider it but obvious that you will have your own criticism of the current government. Mr. Ramachandran, let's talk about some of the points that were highlighted in 2014. I'm specifically referring to the black money issue that has not been touched upon. I'm specifically referring to the growth of the economy. The exports have fallen. Unemployment growth is stagnated. You've heard comments and arguments and counter arguments from both the sides. What is the consensus, if there is any?
I don't think you will find a consensus at this point of time. The problems that the Modi government has been facing is international depression in the rich world, in the countries of the north, and there have been problems within our own country as far as agriculture is concerned. Let's not forget, farmers have been facing drought for the third consecutive year, and there is hardly any agricultural growth. So, in the overall analysis, even experts and their own people in Niti Aayog and elsewhere have said that if you don't reach a growth of 8 to 9%, 7 to 7.5% is not enough. You need anywhere upwards of 8% and closer to 9% to create employment in this country. And we are nowhere near that 8 or 9%. This is not what I am saying, this is what experts, economists and others are saying.
Right.
As far as Mr. RP Singh is concerned, I think he has definitely brought to the fore the positives of this government in various spheres. I don't think you can take away the positives that this government has achieved in 2 years. The fact is, having made the multitude of promises, including depositing 15 lakh rupees in the savings bank account of every person in this country.
Let Mr. RP Singh, come into the debate. And Mr. RP Singh, the black money issue is something that has been haunting the BJP since it came to power. It's been 2 years. You are from within the party. What do you think is the momentum on that particular topic? A lot of people are curious to know, that there was a certain promise that the black money initiative will start 3 months after the government comes into power. It's been 24 months.
I'm sorry, probably you are not aware. When immediately after forming of the government, the first cabinet decision was to form a set, and that has already processes work. There are technicalities, there are issues which they have to deal with a lot of foreign authorities in that and foreign countries on that. But the set was formed immediately the first cabinet, very first cabinet decision. So you can't accuse of not taking action. We are not worried, and because we are very clear that all black money, wherever it is, has to come to the country, and within the country also, black money has to transfer into white money, and then probably for which our window was open, and if not, then the money will be caught otherwise. But bigger than that, I mean, let's talk about common man. 21 crore Jan-Dhan accounts were open.
Right.
First time, a common man, a poor man could walk into bank without a zero balance and could open an account. 30,000 crore rupees for the poor people were deposited in the bank. And other side, before we came, the banks were almost bankrupt. But that's a condition. But money was given to like Malias and others. And let's talk about a common man can do his insurance for 1 rupee a month for 2 lakh rupees. Where was it? A crop insurance. I mean, what a scheme.
Right.
A soil health card. I mean, there have been schemes after schemes, and best is for women. Ujjwal Bharat, where
Okay,
every
Mr.
household
Singh,
will, get a
very
gas
very good
cylinder.
effort in tick marking all
And
the
when
achievements
was
that
it?
the,
When
that the
was- and
BJP government has made.
Give me a second, another second.
Mr. Ramani wants to come in. Mr.
Sir,
Ramani.
Another second.
I'll come back
When
to you,
was
Mr.
it
RP
after
Singh. I'll
Lal
come
Bahadur
back to you.
Shastri,
I'll-
on whose call people started acting and started working. And I remember Lal Bahadur Shastri said, we'll eat one time, and people started doing that. Here the Prime Minister said, please leave your gas subsidy. More than 1 crore people have left their gas subsidy. And other side, I remember Rahul Gandhi taking his sleeves up. नहीं हमें प्रधानमंत्री जी नो की जगह 10 सिलेंडर चाहिए. Today, Pradhanmantri ji said that please, I am requesting you, leave your gas subsidy for poor. More than 1 crore people have already left their gas subsidy for poor. So today, even now his appeal works, and
Right.
it has not happened in so many years.
Agreed. Mr. Ramani, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, Mr. RP Singh should not forget that the so-called Jan-Dhan, which is eulogizing, after all, is the zero balance and non-filled account which the UPA government had opened, and in which there were 24 crore accounts were already opened in 2014. See, the biggest problem with this government is they change the names. They have no idea of governance, and existing names are changed, like National Skill Development, which UPA started, you change it into Skilled India. Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan, now is Swachh Bharat. Aam Aadmi Bima Yojana is now Prime Minister Bima Yojana. So anything and everything what this UPA government did and had already initiated, implemented, has been renamed and being claimed as their project, number one. On the black money issue, it is very convenient to say that, there are international laws and rules have to be obeyed and initiatives have been taken. But if that is the case, it once again proves our point that you came to power on a pack of lies. You said that the black money 80,000 crores is available, and that will be brought within 100 days, and it will be distributed to all the people in the country with 15 lakhs rupees will be distributed. So what I am saying is, this government has no vision. There is no policy in this government. You look at every indices of the economy. Everywhere they have failed. The aggregate demand is totally low. Capital formation is low. The credit growth is nil almost. Lot of projects have been stalled. The rupee has gone to the roof, where they used to criticize on 58 rupees. Now it has gone more than 20 times what they had. No, what I am trying to say is, but for the oil crisis, but for the fall in crude oil prices, this government would have led this country to economic disaster. And that is what is the situation today. If again the crude oil prices go up, I shudder even to think what will happen to the economy of this country.
Okay, Mr. RP Singh, I'll let you retort to that, but before, let me, get in Mr. Ramachandran. You've already heard what he had to say. He said that if this government, could not control crude prices, the economy is going to be in, a lot of trouble.
I think this is the one thing which has really come to the aid of the Modi government.
That the crude prices haven't gone up.
Haven't risen. It has been at a considerably low price. There are two things to it. First and foremost, this has really come to their aid. This has helped them to an extent in keeping the economy in check. I think certain other trends like inflation have also been kept in check. But there are clear indications the prices are going to harden in the next 6 to 8 months.
Right.
I think the problems will really
That's
arise
when they get
there.
into trouble. And Mr. RP Singh also mentioned that, the BJP government has been more or less corruption free, but there have been a few instances, where corruption has cropped up in the case of Pankaja Munde, Smriti Irani, and, even the abuse of power in, the Kiran Riju episode.
No, but I think by and large credit must go to this government that they have been relatively free from any corruption. But this is too early to talk about corruption. You have to give them 5 years to be completed before any corruption comes to the fore, if at all there is any. But I think yes, so far I think it's a credit to them that nothing has come to the fore. Even with the UPA 1.
Credit to them, or is it luck?
Well, call it what you want. But the fact is, even UPA 1, the first 5 years, there were no great cases of
Mr.
corruption
Ramachandran
which came to the fore.
just hold that thought. We have a caller. We have Krishna who's giving us a call from Greater Noida. Krishna, go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is to the Congress spokesperson. They have ruled India for 10 years, and in those 10 years, they have given in those 10 years, they have given us the scams and the politics of entitlement, the politics of pseudo-secularism, the politics of dividing the India on the basis of religious lines. And in those 10 years, the country has gone to the worst possible which could happen. And on what basis are they asking the government to the Prime Minister, who is working 17 hours, 18 hours a day, and who has changed the course of the entire scene, and also to the TV panelists who makes kind of a sweeping comments about the government, but do they have anything to say that is it a trivial task to control the corruption at the top level?
Okay, Krishna, we'll thank you for that thought. We also have Mohammed who's giving us a call from Pune. Mohammed, say what you have to say.
हेलो
Mohammed, go ahead.
हाँ सर, मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ कि हमारे मोदी साहब ने क्या काम किया हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने। हेलो,
हाँ, आपको क्या लगता है उन्होंने क्या नहीं किया? आपको किस चीज की अपेक्षा थी और क्या नहीं किया?
राजनाथ सिंह ये जुमला अमित शाह बोल रहे थे कि हर गरीब के खाते में 15 लाख रुपया रहेगा। हर गरीब के खाते में 15 लाख रुपया डालेंगे, साला धन 100 दिन में लाएंगे।
क्या आपको मिला 15 लाख रुपया?
15 पैसे मिल जाए तो बहुत बड़ी बात है।
Okay, I'll let Mr. RP Singh reply to that. Mohammed, who gave us a call from Pune, he's obviously a little livid that he did feel that he was promised 15 lakh rupees before the Modi government came into power, but he did not even receive 15 paisa. Mr. RP Singh.
You did. I'm sorry. You seem to be a little biased. You never referred to the earlier call. I mean, you just referred to one call, which was the second call. But anyhow, I can expect that. From
We'll get
you.
to that, Mr. RP Singh. We'll get to that.
When we came in, the growth rate. I'm sorry, sir. I'm stating the fact. I mean, it's not that you are always right. The growth rate was 4.4%. When we left at NDA 1, it was 8.4. We were given at 4.4. Today, 7.5. From 4.4 to 7.5. And as for 15 lakh, it was said that the equivalent of 15 lakh will be there with each one. Not that it will deposit to someone's account. किसी के खाते में जमा होने की बात नहीं थी। तो आज गरीब आदमी के लिए जनधन खाते से 5,000 रुपए का अपना निजी अकाउंट खोल सकता है। और तो और गरीब आदमी जो, अगर मेरे मोहम्मद वास साहब मेरी बात सुन पा रहे हैं, आप किसी भी बैंक में जाकर 50,000 रुपए से लेकर 10 लाख तक का लोन ले सकते हैं अपना काम का खुद शुरू करने के लिए। आपको आज सरकार से नौकरी ढूंढने की जरूरत नहीं है। आप अगर छोटे से छोटा कोई रेडी भी लगाते हैं और अगर खोंचा भी लगाते हैं या कोई बुटीक चलाते हैं या कोई और कुछ काम करते हैं, 50,000 से लेकर 10 लाख का लोन बिना किसी गारंटी के सरकार दे रही है। ये आज से पहले कभी किसी सरकार ने किया नहीं, क्योंकि शायद आपकी जानकारी में आया नहीं। और मैं चाहूंगा आपकी जरूरत हो किसी बगल के पंजाब नेशनल बैंक या किसी स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया किसी सरकारी बैंक में जाएंगे, आपकी सुविधा उपलब्ध हो जाएगी आपको।
Right, we have another caller. Vikas is giving us a call. Vikas, go ahead.
गुड इवनिंग, दिस साइड विकास हियर। मैं अहमदाबाद से बात कर रहा हूँ।
Go ahead, Vikas.
सर, मोदी जी को तो हमने अहमदाबाद में काफी साल हमने यहाँ पर हमारे साथ रहे हैं। मेरा कहना इतना ही है कि क्या देश की जनता एक मैजिशियन को एक्सपेक्ट कर रही है, एक पीएम को एक्सपेक्ट कर रही है? जब क्वेश्चन उठा रहे कि 2 साल में क्या हुआ, तो मेरा कहना यही बनता है कि 2 साल में जो कितना करके दिखाया है, पिछली कांग्रेस की सरकार ने जो 2 बार में या 10 साल में नहीं कर पाई, उससे तो काफी इंप्रूवमेंट किया है। और हम एक खड्डे में पहाड़ एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो खड्डे को पूरे करने के लिए पहले एक समतल जमीन चाहिए, उसके बाद एक पहाड़ खड़ा किया जा सकता है। तो
very good analogy, very good analogy. Let's get Ijaz from Chennai. Ijaz, go ahead.
जी, मेरा नाम आयाज है, मैं चेन्नई से बात कर रहा हूँ।
जी इजाज बोलिए।
सर, 2 साल के जो मोदी का जो आज बता रहे हैं आप, 2 साल में क्या चला था आपको अच्छा मालूम है। हर टीवी न्यूज चैनल में यही है, 2 साल में क्या चल रहा है, किसी को ये कर दो, बीफ मत खाओ, ये करो, इसके बारे में ही डिस्कस चल रहा है, देश के बारे में तो कोई डिस्कस नहीं चल रहा है। ये 2 साल आप लोगों को, हमारे से ज्यादा आप लोगों को अच्छा मालूम है, तो इनका क्या, हम इनको क्या सर्टिफिकेट दे सकते हैं इनको? इसके अलावा जो भी पीरियड चला, यूपीए 1, यूपीए 2, जो उसके अलावा जो भी था, ऐसा डिस्कशन कभी भी नहीं चला जो ये 2 साल में चला। अभी कभी भी जब उठा के देखिए, वहां पे ये हो गया, वहां पे वो हो गया, यहाँ पे ऐसा करो, वहां पे ऐसा करो, देश के बारे में कोई नहीं बात कर रहा है। इसलिए क्या हम वोट डाल के इनको बैठाए थे सीट में? बोलिए आप भी।
Very valid point. I'll get in Mr. Ramani. We did get a call from Krishna earlier on, Mr. Ramani, and he did say that, you know, the Congress ruled this country for 10 years and they were riddled with scam, and the situation they left the country in, BJP obviously took a cue from that and has only proliferated the growth process. How do you respond to that?
See, 2 things. One, what they conveniently forget is they only talk about the growth rate in the year 2013-2014, whereas they forget the fact that overall average in the 10 years the growth rate had increased to 8.5% from 4.4. And number 2, they are talking about the last 2 years growth rate as 7.5% as per the revised formula of growth, which actually the international community, the international economic community has already agreed that it is not so, depending, looking at the various economic indicators in the country, and they feel that it is somewhere around 5.5%. I am not saying that. I am not saying that. This is being told by the international community.
Right.
And number 2, once again coming to development, you know, the number of projects that have been initiated, both on the social sector as well as on the economic sector, it has been appreciated by almost all the countries throughout the world. If you take economy, if you take social sector, if you take the welfare schemes, as well as if you take the foreign policy,
right.
Overall, the overall image of this country in the last 10 years went to its zenith because of the performance of the UPA government. And again, once again saying that, you know, only 4.4% in the last year, you know, that doesn't gel much with the people. And as far as Mr. Vikas said from Ahmedabad, that, you know, you are expecting PM to do
right,
magic.
Right, Mr. Ramani, let's get a caller in. We have Pramod. Mr. Ramani, just hold that thought. Mr. Ramani, hold that thought. We'll come back to you. Pramod from Indore is online with us. Pramod, go ahead. What do you have to say? 2 years of the Modi government.
सर, मैं हिंदी में बात करना चाहूंगा।
जी बिल्कुल करिए।
सर, मेरा एक निवेदन था आपसे कि जैसा ये सब डिबेट चल रही है, मैं काफी दिन से सुनता हूँ सारी चीजें। आज जब से बीजेपी 2014 से बन के आई है गवर्नमेंट के अंदर, तब से ऐसा फील होता है कि वाकई में अब इंडिया कुछ कर लेगा। मुझे नहीं लगता था कि, मेरे को ऐसा फील होता था कि सब ऐसा ही हो रहा है, ठीक है, भ्रष्टाचार हो रहा है, बट अभी जाके ऐसा इम्प्रूवमेंट लगता है कि अब जाके कहीं हमारा देश आगे जाके विकासशील देश बनेगा और हम अमेरिका और चीन के कंपेयर में खड़े हो पाएंगे। सर, मोदी जी जिस हिसाब से बाहर जो उनकी
right. Pramod, hold that thought. We'll come back to you. Mithun is also calling us from Punjab. Mithun.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. What do you have to say? We are debating 2 years of completion of the Modi government. Have they failed or passed? Have they delivered on the promises or not?
सर, ये जो मोदी सरकार है सर,
बोलिए मिथुन।
जी सर, ये मोदी सरकार है, काम तो अच्छा कर रहे हैं सर, लेकिन सर इनके मोदी सरकार के ऊपर निगेटिव ज्यादा आदमी बोलते हैं सर। जो काम कर रहे हैं उसके बारे में बहुत कम आदमी बोलते हैं सर। सब
right, of course, most of the callers have a valid point. They have observed the Modi government. There have been plus and minuses. And Mr. Ramachandran, there also have been an issue of, intolerance, the beef ban. There's been a communal disharmony in some parts of the country. That also is another area where the Modi government should have risen to the occasion and taken onus and at least made some positive statements to negate the atmosphere.
Well, there is a certain element of fear among the minority communities. There's no doubt about that. The other aspect is the increasing intolerance by certain sections of the Sangh Parivar.
Right.
Let's not forget that the recent incident which happened in Ayodhya yesterday is also a pointer to these elements which are rearing their heads to spread disharmony in the country.
Right.
But this has been talked about and written about quite a bit in the papers, in media sections, in television. And
is that the reason you think they lost a couple of states? Because their image, the kind of image that they portrayed before they got elected?
No, I wouldn't attribute it to that. Let's face facts that only now, in the last 6 months or in the last 2 years, you really have a pan-India party, which is this BJP has become a pan-India party. And it is contesting from all parts of the country, north, east, west and south.
Absolutely. And at this point in time, I hate to say this, but we have to conclude our show. And at this point, I would also thank our guests for coming on, Mr. R.P. Singh, Mr. Ramani and Mr. Ramachandran. Thank you so much for being on the show. A healthy debate, 2 years of completion of the Modi government. We'll see you here again tomorrow on Current Issues. Keep watching Newsworld India. Thank you.